for the infusion of positive energy into the lives of single Latter-day Saints everywhere. This is Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, peeps, to another wonderful, joyous episode of Joy in the Journey Radio. I am Lance, your host for Joy in the Journey Radio. Today is the 18th of August, 2021, and this is episode number 190. We do what we want. Lately, I've reflected on my journey thus far in life, and anyone who knows me well can tell you such moments usually find me waxing philosophical. As imperfect as we all are, there's always room for improvement. I've long declared myself a walking construction zone with more imperfections than Swiss cheese has holes. So any evaluation of my life will find me wanting. There's so much I'd like to change and so much that needs to change in order for me to have my best life. In some ways, I've changed for the better. I'm not the same man I was 20, 10, or even 5 years ago. In some respects, the man I am today is much better than any of those men were. Yet in other respects, I feel like I'm worse, especially when compared with what I'd expect to be at this point in my life. As I think about why I'm where I am, I realize I'm no different than anyone else. We do what we want. Tony Robbins once said, "Change is never a matter of ability. It's always a matter of motivation." If you really want to make a change in life, you simply make the change. It's never a matter of ability because if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to do it. So despite the volume of our protestations, we all do have the life we really want. My life is where it is because that's where I want it to be. I see a change I think I want in my life, and I think I want it because it appears to give me something desirable. But in reality, I have the life I truly desire most because results come only from actions, and I chose the actions that have given me the results I have. Still, I keep returning to the question of making changes in my life because what I have truly desired does not completely satisfy. Why then do I not make the changes that will give me that different life? I have ability to change, but not sufficient motivation. I'm just too comfortable where I am now. I think many of us live in this same rut. We don't really do what we need to do to achieve positive change because we're far too comfortable with our present life. Pursuing positive change opens the door to problems and challenges involving pain and confusion. I think all of us have enough of those not to want any more. At the same time, there's no reward without risk. You can't really feel the deep joy of love without opening your heart to betrayal and loss. You can't lose weight without exposing yourself to pain and discomfort a new diet might bring, or to the exhaustion and injury that exercise can inflict. You can't experience the good results from being out in the world without exposing yourself to the bad things that happen to people every single day. Many of us sense these risks and pull away. We want safe, sure, guaranteed. So we stay in our comfort zones, yearning to get out, but never wanting to do what will get us out. We're just not motivated enough. We're doing what we want. So how then do you get motivated enough to change? I think we'll all have our own answer, but I do see one common thread that could tie all those individual answers together. You get to a point where you won't tolerate not having to change any longer. You just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. You make a decision, a real decision, one in which you cut yourself off from every possible outcome except the one you predetermine. You put your all into producing the actions that will produce the predetermined result. And to keep yourself motivated, you surround yourself with like-minded go-getters who will support you in going after your best life. Not everyone will do that, but either way, we do what we want. We have the results we have because of the action we've taken. And we take that action because that's what we really want to do. If you really want to do something different that'll produce different results in your life, then you'll do that. Hitting rock bottom could be the greatest blessing ever, because there you can more easily find your motivation to do something different. As you then decide not to tolerate anything less than your absolute best, you'll get yourself on the path to your absolute best life, and that will bring you more joy in your journey. Back in a moment.
Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, peeps, to another wonderful, splendiferous episode. We are here in the JJ Zone, Joy in the Journey Radio, today broadcasting about how we all really have the life that we want. I was just thinking recently about my life and where I'm going, because it's not going to be that further down the road before I hit another major milestone in my life. And I'm looking ahead, and it's like, wow, I can't believe I'm so close to that milestone. you know, it's like, where's the time gone? It's like you just wonder. It's like, wow, really me? I don't really think I never really thought of myself as being in that place. It's not that far away, and when you see it's not that far away, it just kind of gets you wondering. You know, gee, yeah. So it's just got me thinking about, and then of course you look at where you are right now in your life, and then you realize, oh my, I'm nowhere near where I thought I would be. I'm nowhere near where I would expect someone in my position to be. And it gets you kind of wondering. It's like, well, how come this isn't working out? And there's a lot of things that happen in people's lives, and there are different points along the path of mortality that they get us all thinking about things and get us thinking about, how is it that I ended up here? Well, as I was saying in the monologue, though we may protest the contrary, though we may be dreaming of some magical life that we don't now have, in reality, we do have the life that we really want right now. The life you have right now is the life you really want. Now, you may disagree with that. You say, oh no, there's no way that this is the life that I want. Well, I'm here to tell you, peeps, that yeah, it is. Because at the end of the day, we all do what we really want. We all do what we really want. And the actions that we choose to take give us the results that we get. So whatever life you have right now is the life that you really do want, because that's the life that was delivered to you by the actions that you chose to take. Now, I know I can hear some of you out there just crying, just saying, no, no, that's not true at all. No, you don't understand. I'm in this disadvantaged position. Or, this other person didn't treat me right, and this other person made choices against me, and I am just a victim of the choices that other people made, and it's just. That's what I think about that. It's just, it's just talk, really. Because as long as you keep that victim mentality, you're always going to be a victim. You're always going to feel helpless, because your focus determines your reality. So when you have this mindset, this thinking that says, I can't do anything about it, it's somebody else's responsibility, someone else is to blame, it's someone else's fault, I can't do this because they're always going to choose that. That kind of victim mentality thinking is what's holding you back. They're not holding you back. You are holding you back with the way that you think up here in your head. So when you get your head screwed on straight and you realize, hey, the only way this is going to change is if I take ownership. I have to own my life. I have to take responsibility for the results that my choices have brought me in my life. Because the reality is, no matter how much you can focus on the choices that other people make that are against you, that disadvantage you, the fact of the matter is that many of those choices, in fact, like I would say 99% of them, are being operated out of habit. We all have the habit of looking at other people and getting our cues of how to treat them from them. So you're actually making choices with how you present yourself, with how you interact with other people, with the energy that you choose to radiate to other people. Those are choices you make. And all of that are cues to other people to, signal to them, hey, this is how you should treat me. This is who I am. This is how you should treat me. This is how you should choose with respect to me. And a lot of the choices that other people make with respect to you that are disadvantaged to you are directly tied to how you're presenting yourself to them. So, I don't really buy this argument that says it's all other people that are keeping me back, that other people are always going to choose against me. I used to think that way. And my life wasn't really all that happy, to be honest with you. There were moments when I felt good, but overall, no, no, I didn't feel that great at all because of the way I was thinking inside. When I changed that thinking, when I decided, you know what, I'm going to own my life. I'm going to start taking responsibility for the results that I have. Whether they are the results that I want or not, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take responsibility for them. I'm going to acknowledge the connection between my choices, my actions, and my results. And I'm going to start figuring out, how am I supposed to make different choices so I make different actions so I get different results? And how do I work with that to get results that I really do want? Results that will give me my best life. Results that will give me unspeakable joy in living life. That's, I think, what we all want at the end of the day. But you're never going to get there until you come to this point of realization that says, you know what? I need to own my life. I need to take responsibility for the results that I have in my life. And once I take responsibility for my results, see, then everything changes. Everything changes because then you become much more conscious and aware of the things that you're doing, and you become aware of the fact that you do a lot of what you do out of habit. And so making the changes you need to make is very often the process of adopting a new habit to replace an old one. You adopt a new habit to replace an old one. See, at the end of the day, we all do what we really want. So, I mean, while you sit there and say all you want that, yeah, I really would like a different life. At the end of the day, if you're not doing anything to move toward that different life, the life you have is the life you really want. Because if you really wanted what you say you really want but don't have, then you'd be working for it. You'd be moving in that direction. You'd be doing something that would, at the end of the day, say, yeah, I'm may not be there yet, but I'm a little bit closer today than I was yesterday. See, a great question that, we could all ask ourselves at the end of the day is this question right here. What have I done today to move myself closer to my dreams and goals? What have I done today to move myself closer to my dreams and goals? Peeps, if there's something that you want to achieve, if there's some different life situation that you want to be yours, if whatever change it is that you want in your life, a really simple way to sort of move yourself in that direction is to adopt a habit. So you're replacing old habits with new habits. Adopt this new habit of, at the end of your day, asking yourself this one question: what have I done today to move myself closer to my dreams and goals? Just ask yourself that at the end of the day and reflect on your answer to that question. Just spend a few minutes. 5 minutes is all you need. I mean, I know a lot of us get busy, and I know I myself get busy, but come on, 5 minutes? You don't have 5 minutes? If you don't have 5 minutes, then you got some really screwed up priorities in your life. And you need to just sit down and just straighten everything out. You need to clean house. You need to get good with you on the inside and sit down and say, okay, this is what I'm about. And this part that I'm spending so much time with, yeah, this part's going to go because it's not helping me to get where I really want to be. And you need to just start cleaning house and cleaning the way that you keep track of your time. How are you spending your time? Because that's really the true reflection of your priorities, where you spend your time. If you want a different life, you can get it. You just have to start taking action that leads you there. Now, it's not uncommon for someone to say, okay, I know what I want. I know where I want to go. I just don't know how to get there. I just don't know how to get what I want. I don't know what choices I need to make that will bring me the results that I want. That's not an uncommon place to be. And I think if you get in that position, the best thing you can do is, well, just take your best guess and take a step out. Seriously, just start moving, because in the process of moving in a direction, you'll, number one, you're going to figure out, hey, whether this is the right direction or not. And two, if it is the wrong direction, and more often than not, it probably will be, you'll be like, hey, I have some experience that can guide me in tweaking my direction so that I can adjust it to be more in line of where it really needs to be. That's really what it is. I mean, but if you don't step out, if you want to have everything spelled out for you before you even take the first step, how do you get that knowledge? That knowledge comes only by taking a step out and gaining some experience. So if you don't know what to do, you don't know what direction you need to go, just pick a direction. Take your best guess and take a step out and start moving in that direction. And it won't be too long before you start to realize, one, whether or not you're in the right direction, and two, if you are in the wrong direction, you have some idea of what you can change to move in a better direction. And if you still don't know what to do after doing all of that, then just keep looking. Keep looking for the right answer. Keep looking for the answer you need. And it'll come, because the promise of our Lord and Savior is that if you will seek, you will find. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. We have that promise. And, I know from my own life that promise is true, because as I've sought for answers of where I need to go, those answers have come. They haven't always come, and they usually don't come in the very moment when I want them to. I usually have to, spend the time looking. I have to spend the effort to go out and actually try to look and see, okay, try to find out where that answer might be. But it's in that search that eventually I do the work that shows the Lord, hey, I'm serious about getting this answer. And in his own time and in his own way, he then gives me that answer. We're well overdue for a break. So let's go ahead and take that break. And when we come back, I want to continue this fascinating discussion we're having with just one person, me. See you there on the other side, peeps.
Joy in the Journey Radio.
And welcome back, peeps. Another wonderful, glorious episode. We're back here at the JJ Zone, Joy in the Journey Radio. Hope you enjoyed that little break. And hey, if you're not listening to Join the Journey Radio when it broadcasts, every Wednesday on the Join the Journey Radio Network, then you're missing out on the music, peeps. Because I play tunes during the breaks in between these segments. I play tunes. So, check out the live program, every Wednesday night, and you can get tunes with your talk. All right. So we're here today talking about, what are we talking about today? Yeah, see, milestones. Milestones, man. Like I was saying before, I'm approaching milestones. We're talking about how we do what we really want. In the monologue, I shared this great quote from Tony Robbins, where he says, "Change is never a matter of ability; it's always a matter of motivation." And I think about that. I mean, when you think about that, can you see how profound that statement really is? Change is never a matter of ability. It's always a matter of motivation. So often we hear from people who are trying to affect some positive change in their life that they can't do it, that they don't have what they need to make the change, that they're not built that way, or that they're just a different type of person. I'm not that person that would do that or have that life. Or they look at themselves and say, well, I just don't have the tools that I need. I don't have the knowledge that I need. They focus on what they don't have and what they can't do. And it's that thinking that holds them back. Because in reality, you do have things that can help you to make the change that you want to have in your life. You do have tools, and you do have a knowledge, and you do have opportunity. You have an abundance of resources, and if you would just start focusing away from what you don't have and can't do to what you do have and what you can do, and start working with that, it won't be long before you start realizing, hey, I really can move in the direction I want to move in. The real obstacle is that you don't really want to. You don't really want to. I mean, you have the life you have because that's the life you really want. And, I think a lot of us just, we get in these ruts where we're comfortable. We've played out these habits that we have that have brought us the results that we have, that give us the life that we have, and it's a comfortable place to be. We go comfortable in that place, and then, before long, it's like we quit wanting more because you're biologically hardwired to maintain status quo. You're not biologically hard. I mean, bucking the system is something that runs so much against the grain of your biological hardwiring. You're biologically hardwired to maintain the status quo because that's where you're safe. Being there is being in a place of safety. Think about that. Being there is being in a place of safety, and that's what we all want. We want safe. We want sure. We want guaranteed. But the real life that has all of the joys and the happiness and everything that we really want, that's just not going to be handed to you in a silver platter. I'm sorry. It's not going to come without you accepting the risk of failure, the risk of not having that, the risk of pain, the risk of confusion, the risk of disillusionment, the risk of discouragement, the risk of disempowerment. You've got to risk the negative in order to have the positive. Because otherwise, you don't get the positive. Because in order to get the positive, you have to do something. And it's in the process of doing that something that you grow and become something more than what you were before. And that something more is consistent with the thing you're trying to get or the place you're trying to be. And so then that's why it comes to you, because you've changed yourself into something that's consistent with that. That's really what it comes down to. So, we need to get out of this mindset of, looking at what we can't do, looking at what we don't have, and start adopting this mindset of what we do have and what we can do. But, like I say, it's all about taking out old habits and replacing them with new ones. Because you can't just stop an old habit. Some of us try that, and I guarantee you, everyone that has tried that has failed. Because we're biologically programmed to, operate out of habit. That's the way that we're designed to operate. We're designed to operate out of habit. So, if you just stop a habit and don't replace it with anything new, then, you get to that trigger event that triggers the old habit, but then you stop the old habit, so it's not there anymore. So then what happens up here in your head? What happens with you not even thinking about it? Let me tell you what happens. What happens is your biological program says, okay, we don't have a habit. We need a habit because that's how we operate. So let's go back to the last habit we had, which is the old habit that you stopped. So go back doing what you did before. And the end result is there's no change. And then so you start thinking, well, I tried to change and couldn't change. when really, the reality is you could change, you just went about it the wrong way. You can't just stop a bad habit, you have to replace it with a new one. So that when you get to that trigger event, that triggers, okay, it's time to play this habit. Instead of playing the old habit, now you've got something new to play. You don't have the empty space that will cause your brain to say, okay, we don't have anything here. Let's go back to the last habit we had, because that's always the default response. The last habit you had is always the default response, always. So instead of playing that, you put in a new habit. You have to create a new habit. And the way you create a new habit is through conscious choice. You consciously choose a different path, a different action, a different choice. And you keep doing that repeatedly. And when you do that often enough, you've got a new habit. You've basically reprogrammed yourself. And so now you just, you're on autopilot going in a different direction, a better direction. So if you do this right, if you do this consciously, you can actually get habits in your life to where you start moving in a good direction, moving in a better direction, moving to make the changes that you really want in your life. And that's something that I think we all want in our lives. But, you just got to come to awareness of, the way things work. So, like I was saying in the last segment, you got to own your life. You got to come to an awareness of how you're designed to operate. And once you have those two places and things in place, there's one thing more that you're going to need. But we're going to come to a break here. So before I get into that one more thing you're going to need, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I can dive in to this without going too long in the segment or, needing to, get interrupted and cut it in the middle. So let's just go ahead and take that break now. When we come back to the break, we're going to get into this one last thing that you need in order to maintain your momentum towards positive change in your life so that you can get the life that you say you want, but, your actions are saying, yeah, you don't really want that because you already have the life that you really do want. You already have that life. You really do. But if you really want to change that so that you get something different, okay, do it. I've given you two elements you need. There's a third element, and we'll get to that third element on the other side of the break. See you there on the other side. Yes, go. Time for a break. See you there, peeps.
Joy in the Journey Radio.
Hey, welcome back, peeps. We are here in the JJ Zone, Joy in the Journey Radio, today talking about how we all really have the life we really want. We all talk about how, say we want to make these changes and we want to do better, we want to be better. Yeah, okay, whatever. You already have the life you really want. Because if you really wanted something different, you'd be doing something different. And see, this gets to the last key element that I need to deliver to you for you to know so that you can actually make those positive changes that you say you really want, but you really aren't making them. And, it goes back to motivation because, a lot of us, we can comprehend on an intellectual level, okay, the place where I'm at is not the best. There is a better place, and we can see how to get there, and we can say, yeah, I can get from point A to point B, and I can make this work, and you have everything, everything, right? But then when it comes time to do, it comes time to execute, when it comes time for the rubber to hit the road, yeah, no, not going to happen. Because see, when the rubber hits the road, there's pain, there's discomfort, there are undesirable consequences to pursuing that path of positive change. And, like I was saying before, we're biology hardwired to stay comfortable, to stay in our comfort zone, not to stretch ourselves, because comfort is safety. Comfort is safety. So if you can stay in this place where you're comfortable, then yeah, why would I do anything else? And that's the reason why a lot of us have lives that are less than the lives we could have. Lives that we say we want something different, but at the end of the day, we don't really go after anything different. We just keep maintaining the life that we have because the life we have is the life we really want. Because we don't really want the discomfort. We're not willing to pay the price to get a ticket to see the show that we say we want to see. And so if you don't pay the price in full and in advance, you don't get the ticket. And without the ticket, you don't see the show. That's the way it goes for anything in life, really. So it really comes down to motivation. That's the last element. So the first element, remember, first element was you have to own your life. Accept responsibility for the results you have in your life. Whether or not they're directly tied to the choices that it doesn't matter. Just take responsibility for it all. Own your life. That's the first step. And second, the second thing you needed to do was, can you remember? Can you remember back that far? I'm reaching certain milestones in my life, so I don't know if I can remember back that far. I can't remember. But hey, we're going to enjoy ourselves along the way because that's what we do here at Joy the Journey Radio. Yeah. So rewind the video and get that second item. So I want to make you work for it. I want to make you work for it. I want to make you work for it. Yeah. So then what you got that in place. Then, it's like, how do you stay motivated though? How do you get to the point where you get enough motivation to want to take those steps out? And then how do you keep up that motivation once you start getting on that path? Because a lot of us have the problem of, those of us who are willing to take that step out and say, okay, I'm willing to start this journey, but then it just peters out. We run out of steam. We run out of gas. We just, we peter out and we just stop. And we're just like, okay, that was fun. Next. And we're right back where we started before. Well, what you need to do is make a decision. And, like I was saying in the monologue, a real decision is one where you cut yourself off from every possible outcome except the one that you predetermine. Now, this is why I define the decision this way, because that's what the word really means when you look at the etymology. So the first part, the DE, right? D comes from a Latin root that means from. And then cis, the next part, comes from a Latin root meaning to cut. And then the final part of it is an ending that makes it a noun. So, decision literally means the act of cutting from. Well, what are you cutting and what are you cutting it from? Well, that's where I get into what a real decision is. You're cutting yourself off from any possible outcome except the one you predetermine. That's a real decision. And you make a real decision when you get sick and tired of getting sick and tired. You hit rock bottom and you decide, I'm not going to tolerate the status quo any longer. I'm not going to tolerate not having the change that I want in my life, and I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to start moving in a positive direction. I'm going to start making changes in me and in my surroundings so that I move myself into where I want to be, into having what I want to have, into living the life that I want to live. We all have the ability because, again, I go back to that quote from Tony Robbins that I gave you earlier. Change is never a matter of ability. It's always a matter of motivation. So find your motivation. What is it that explains the why of what you want this change for? Why do you want what you want? And once you get crystal clear on that, that can help to push you through. Now, another good help to push you through and keep you motivated is to be very mindful of the people you associate with. And you got to get yourself around other people who want what you want and are doing what you want to do. Get yourself around those people because, again, This all goes back to the way we're designed to operate. We're biologically hardwired to be normal. I mean, it's a basic human desire to want to be normal. And how do you know whether or not you're normal? Well, again, we're biologically hardwired to assess what's normal by the people that are around us. So you want to get yourself around people who are making the change that you want to make. Get yourself around people who are doing what you want to do and having the life that you want to have. Find a way to get yourself around those types of people, because then that'll reset what you consider to be normal and you'll step up your game. Whereas if you keep yourself around people who aren't going where you want to go in life, who aren't doing what you want to do, who don't have what you want to have, then it's going to be much harder, because you'll be fighting the biology of your hardwiring, your biological hardwiring. And when you fight biology, how do you expect to win? So let's start leveraging the way that we're constructed biologically, psychologically. Let's start constructing ourselves by leveraging the way that we're naturally built into something that can help, springboard us into something that we want to be, into people that we want to be, into places that we want to be, into the life that we want to live. And, you can do it. You can do it. So, I'm giving you some tools to start out with, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have here for Joy in the Journey Radio. So I want to thank everyone for listening. Hopefully, I was able to give you something that you found helpful. And if you did find something helpful in what I've given you today, then I want you to pay it forward. Pay me back by paying it forward and doing something to help somebody else in your sphere of influence. Find somebody that crosses your path and needs help that you can give, and give that person that help. There's so much darkness and evil growing in the world today. We need all the light and goodness we can muster. So let's spread the light and goodness that we have out, and let's help that to grow. We do that by helping other people and doing the help of other people without expecting anything in return. And don't forget, come back next week for another wonderful, splendiferous episode of Join the Journey Radio. So until next time, this is your host reminding you, there is joy to be had all along your journey. Take that joy, journey on.